Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning in again today for one of my tutorials. Today's tutorial is going to be on how I do my full sets. Right now I am only going to show you her right hand through this whole process. I don't want to take up more time doing the left hand when I just literally repeat all the steps. So right now I'm just taking that round cuticle drill bit and just removing as much cuticle as I can very gently. You don't want to put divots and things like that into the nail. You just want to remove that cuticle area. Then I'm taking that 180 sanding band and I'm going over that cuticle area just to make sure I get rid of any other cuticles that I haven't removed already, as well as remove the shine from the natural nail plate to ensure that we have a nice clean nail plate so that we'll have a nice good seal on these nails. Alrighty, and now I'm going to take my cuticle nippers and I'm just going to clean up these cuticles with the leftover like actual skin area that's there. I don't do this on every finger and I don't do this on every client. This is something just extra if need be, if they have the extra pieces, so that way they don't rip and tear later on and cause like the whole skin area to be raw and torn. Now I'm applying the tips with my KDS glue. I definitely love this KDS glue. It's super strong. It always holds. I never have problems with the glue. As well as these nail tips. I'm leaving all the names of everything that I have in the description box below. But I love these tips. They're nice and strong and thick without being too thick. They're nice to work with, easy to blend. Always making sure when you're putting on your tips that you are from sidewall to sidewall, that the nail fits. You don't want anything, if it does overextend slightly, you just want to take your file and file it so that it fits directly from sidewall to sidewall. If it's too short, you'll be finding yourself trying to create an acrylic sidewall, and what will happen is eventually that'll chip and break and it'll just cause a whole lot of structural damage. So you're getting it sidewall to sidewall again and making sure that there's no bubbles in the glue, that you are properly pressing this on. Not too much force, not too much glue. Too much glue can definitely be damaging to the actual nail. Once the tips are applied, then we're going to cut them to the right length, whatever the client wants. You always want to take into consideration that you are going to have to file the top tip. So you just want to make sure that you're leaving yourself just a smidget of room to get that filing done. Then you're always going to measure hand to hand. I usually do a rough cut first on the other hand, and then I come back and measure it. Sometimes it's right on point. Sometimes, like this set, it's just not. So I just measure them, get them all the same length on both hands. After that, she did want square. I find these tips to be just a little bit gaudy. So the tip area, I just find it a little easier just to cut off that extra nail tip that's there. Then I am taking my file and I'm just redefining the shape, making sure to kind of squeeze the tip a little bit. Since I use straight edge scissors to cut the tip, sometimes the tip area can widen at the very, very top. So I just give it a little pinch so that way it can be back to its original C-curve shape. Now that I've gotten them back into the shape that I want them, I'm blending in the actual nail tip with the natural nail. Now, the majority of what you'll see me doing is actually me filing the nail tip. You've already filed your client's natural nail plate, so you don't want to continuously keep filing it. You want to get down the bulk of the nail tip, then just simply graze over the nail plate to finish off the blend. So like I said, the majority of this is on the actual nail tip as opposed to her natural nail. Now that we've fully blended the nail, we're going to come in with the Valentino Dehydrator and Bond and use this on the natural nail only. That way we can clear off any excess oils as well as create a sticky tacky layer for the acrylic to adhere to. Okay, and we are going to put a couple of these candies on a couple of her fingers. So me and her are just going over exactly everything that we're going to be doing for this set. Turns out super cute. And now I am taking a layer of clear. I'm using this clear to blend the natural nail and the nail tip even better. I always do this with every set. This keeps the colored acrylic from actually staining the nails. And also, it just helps when it comes to fill-ins. Usually what I'll do is I'll file this down to the clear level and then do the fill-in and put a new design over it. So it really helps to keep clients from having to get new sets every single time. Now that all the acrylic is laid, you want to do your tap test and just make sure you hear that clicking sound so that you know the nails are completely dry. Now that they are dry, I want to make sure I clean up that shape by just going in with my file and cleaning up those lines a little bit, making sure that we keep a sharp shape to get the cleanest look. Once I finished cleaning up the shape, I wanted to go in with my 4-in-1 electric drill bit, and I'm just making sure that I'm cleaning up this cuticle area. You don't want to touch the natural nail plate with this drill bit. It's a safety drill bit, so to keep you from cutting the cuticle, but sometimes you can go too low and you want to make sure that you don't do that. You don't want to ring a fire where you just take down the natural nail layers too thin. I like to go from right to left when I'm doing anything because I'm right-handed, so that's where I like to start. And it just makes sure that I get a nice, smooth, even shape. You want an apex, but what you don't want is a hump or lump right at the cuticle area. You want it to gradually go from the cuticle area up into a nice apex and straight out to the tip, making sure that your tip isn't too thick either. Now I'm going to take my buffer and I'm going to remove any of the remaining ridges and edges, anything that's just bumpy and needs to be fully buffed out to make this as smooth as we possibly can. Then I'm going to take this lint-free wipe soaked with alcohol and just wipe away all the extra dust and anything on the nail, so that makes sure it's a clean nail for us to work with and put our charms and stuff on. You definitely want to use lint-free. I didn't think about that when I first started doing nails, and it's something that just helps you with the design process, so definitely get those. So to attach these charms, I'm going to use acrylic instead of just the usual Beetles UV gel that I use. The reason why is because these are so large. I really want to give them something to attach to. A lot of times the UV gel, even though it's thicker than like a nail glue or anything like that to attach the charms, it's still just not, doesn't give enough solid base to adhere to. So I just placed a really good size bead on the middle of the nail. And then what I'm doing right now is just making sure that I'm pressing it all the way down, getting it firmly on there, and then tapping the acrylic that's under so that it creates a seal and it's connected completely from the charm to the actual nail. Now we're placing the gummy bear, and I'm just doing the same. I'm getting a nice size bead, drying it out just a smidgen, and making sure that I'm tapping it down so it's completely touching the actual nail, and then applying that charm again, tapping on the sides, so that way all that acrylic creates like a very good seal. Now we're going to go ahead and put the top coat on. You want to make sure that you're completely covering every part of the acrylic that's showing, and putting your cap on the end to make sure that everything is sealed and looks really nice, super, super shiny. This is the final result. Super cute. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video for more tutorials. Thanks for watching, guys.